What's up, Dirty Cones? So this is, well, these were chickens. But this is a podcast that we just recently did, and we're doing a scholarship. And a lady who was rescued by a man, I wouldn't say a long time ago, but it was a long time ago for us and them. And they want to do a scholarship to help people come train with us. That's Cody. So I'm going to play for you part of it. We'll see how much goes. But so this way I can have it on YouTube. And maybe it'll get more people. So there's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a contest. You fill it out, do it. And I have the wrong phone. So, hold on, watch some chickens. I'll be back. Did you like my chicken? Hey, how are you? I don't have any more. I already fed you guys. You should saw them running. They were like, look, chickens on camera. Look, can you see? What's up, little chickie? Hello. So let's see if I can find this file. I'm sure it's somewhere. I don't know where, because it does not appear to be on my thing. Oh, there they are. Files. So I thought you guys might enjoy the chickens. Let's see. What's up, Dirty Cone? Today we have a special
God, spirituality, the universe.
Alright, here it goes. What's up, Dirty Cones?
What's up, Dirty Cones?
Today we have a special, never before done podcast where we're having two individuals. They'll tell you who they are and all those particulars. And most of the podcast will actually be them talking. And then we might say something in the end because we actually have some, questions for them as well. And we wouldn't be Dan Rather and Susie Ormond.
Okay.
You'd be Susie. if we weren't asking questions and, thinking,
Okay.
or Diane Sawyer?
She's cool too.
Whoever we need to be, we'll be, because that's what we do.
Okay.
But without further ado, I will let Ellen and Rob, or Bob, go. So, say hello.
Here we go.
Well, hello there. It's so nice to be here and to be a part of the podcast. I'm so glad that Bob is here to share this story. and just want to let you know a couple of things about why I'm going to share this story. For me, my first thing is to go ahead and pay it forward. I want to be able to help someone to become an individual who will be able to assist others in need, whether it's a natural disaster or some wartime rescue or any other situation that arises. And I'd also like to take a date that has been very traumatic for me, April 9th, and turn it into a very positive day. That's a celebration. So those are two things that I would want to make sure this story being told will help to do. And at the end, I'll come back with my third thing.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Ellen.
And my name is Bob Davis, and I'm very happy to be here also to tell this story. I just want to issue a disclaimer before we tell our story that in this story, I am the hero of Ellen's story. And I want to make it really clear that I don't see it that way. I don't feel that way about it. And it's part of the reason that I want to tell the story. And my reason is that is twofold. One is that this story, I hope, will give the message that there's much more in this world going on than any of us know. However you describe it, however you explain it, if it's God, spirituality, the universe, something was going on in this story which caused me to act. And I don't in any way take say that I'm a hero in this story because I was an instrument in some other greater good. And that's a very humbling thing. And the other reason that I want to tell this story is because I want to encourage people to always listen to that little voice and realize that it's always right to get involved to help somebody else if you hear that little voice. So that's my two reasons. But especially I want it to be really clear that I don't hold myself as a hero in this story. I was an instrument used by some other force outside of myself, which I can't explain.
Beautiful.
So, on to you, Ellen.
All right. So now to the story. Okay. So it was April 9th, 1984. I had just gotten home to my beautiful studio apartment on Chestnut Street in San Francisco. It was about 10:30. And I'd only been living there for about a week. And finally, I had my own place. So I was in heaven. I started to get ready for bed, went into my bathroom, about to start brushing my teeth, and I hear a creak in the floorboards of my hallway. And the door is partially open, so I kind of looked through and saw this man creeping down my hallway. I just put all of my weight against the door to try to shut it, and he was there just pounding that door open, made me fall backwards. I hit my head on the bathtub, and right away he covered my mouth. Well, first I got out a really good scream, my only scream that I would get out that night. And then he covered my mouth with his hand. He showed me he had a knife, put it to my stomach, and then put it to my neck, and said to me, "Why did you have to scream like that?" So I didn't answer him. He managed to get me up and walk down the hallway to the bedroom where he put me face down on the bed. He used the straps of my purse to tie my hands behind my back, and he put a gag in my mouth. And he leaned over me. I remember feeling like his shoulder digging into my back, and he said, "Where's the money?" So I managed to say it was in the kitchen. I knew I only had $11. That was it. And so when he came back, he seemed like he was pretty irritated. He said, "Where's the other money?" And so I didn't answer him. I didn't have any other money. I didn't know what to say. And so he seemed like he was really irritated at that point. And he asked me how old I was. And I did not know what that had to do with anything else. So that kind of put quite a bit of terror into me. And then he said, next time you should lock your window. And I remembered that having just moved into the apartment had been painted, and I tried to move the lock of the window so that it could be locked, and it was painted in an open position. So that was how he got in. He managed to, come in through a window that could not be locked. At that point, I felt like I don't know what's going to happen next, but I heard him go over there was a light that was on in the corner of the room. He shut it off, and then he went over to the window and he shut it. And I knew that he was still in my apartment. And at that point, I just decided he might kill me, but he's not going to rape me. So I somehow managed to get my hands free. I turned around and I started kicking and hitting as hard as I could. I thought I'd be able to break out one of the windows, just to make noise. I wasn't able to scream for some reason. I don't know what was going on, that there was nothing, there for me to scream. And then, he put his fist in my mouth, and I bit down as hard as I could. And I know that I badly hurt one of his fingers, because later on I found out that he was treated at San Francisco General for a bite to the finger. So I know that I did some damage. And then he bit me on the bridge of my nose, because I think he was in pain from having been bitten, so hard on his hand. But then he got his hands around my neck, and I tried to get his hands off. I was just struggling, and I was starting to lose consciousness. And then he let me go. And I could tell that he had run over to the corner of the bedroom. And I got up, and I ran down my hallway, and I opened up my door, and I passed by this man who was standing on the other side of my door, and I just slumped down on the floor saying, "He's trying to kill me, he's trying to kill me." So Bob, you want to continue?
Well, yeah, I'll for me that evening, I was at home. I lived about a mile away, and I was studying for an exam. I was going to school to San Francisco State at the time, and I was in pre-med, so I had some difficult, I think it was organic chemistry exam the next day. And I made it a very strict rule never to go out, at least for a couple, 2-3 days or nights before an exam. And my ex-wife, or soon to be my ex-wife, we had split up a few months before, like 2-3 months before, and she called me and she said, you've never come over and seen my new apartment. And I said, well, there's no way. I can't. I got an exam tomorrow. I can't. And we were still very good friends. We were the best of friends. So I said, no, I really can't. And I hung up the phone. And this is when I do remember, like this, I had this really weird kind of feeling, like the little voice in my head. This is the first thing that I started hearing this thing that, well, no, you really should go over. You should go over. And so I broke a cardinal rule. I called her back. I said, I'll come over, but I can only stay for a little while. She said, well, I'll make dinner. I said, fine. And I went over to this apartment, and she lived right above the lobby of the building. There was no apartments on the first floor. So she lived on the first floor where there was apartments. And it was just like exactly identical to Ellen's. It was a studio apartment with a long hallway from the door, and the bathroom was off to one side, but the hallway led to this big open space, and the far wall was all windows with a fire escape going up. And I went in, and we were sitting on her. She made dinner. We had little TV trays, and we were watching the Academy Awards, and we were sitting. That window was right there, and it was a really rare warm night in San Francisco, so the windows were open, and I was just wearing gym clothes, and I'd gone to the gym earlier, and so we're on the bed eating, and I started getting unexplainable. I started getting very nervous. I remember my hands were sweating, And I kept telling my ex-wife, like, what was that? Did you hear that? What was that? She would say, I don't hear anything. And I kept having her turn off the TV, and we'd listen, but we heard nothing. There was nothing. So there was no loud noise. There was no anything. And at one point, we were watching the TV, and I kept getting more and more agitated, and I couldn't figure. I didn't know why. I thought, am I starting to? What is wrong with me? I'm cracking here, and it was suddenly there was kind of a whoop from upstairs, and I remember thinking they were celebrating and happy about who won the Academy Awards that night. But at the same time, I jumped off the bed. My tray went on the floor, dumped it on the floor, and I jumped off the bed and I ran out of the apartment. I remember, my wife was saying, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" And I ran out of the apartment. Can't explain why. Every step of the way, I was telling myself, "What are you doing? Stop." And I ran up the stairs, and I remember going up that stairwell thinking, oh my God, you finally cracked. Because I was going to school full time. I was working 2 jobs, going to school full time. I was like, I didn't have a minute to myself. I really did feel like I was going insane. And I went up and I went to the door directly above my ex-wife's, and I started knocking on the door, and I didn't hear anything. And then I heard what sounded like a chair, maybe somebody, a chair scraping on the floor, like somebody was getting up from a table. That's what I thought. And I was pounding on the door. I said, "Are you okay in there? Are you okay?" Now, it was nothing that would have caused me to be that concerned. And the entire time I was doing this, my conscious mind was telling me, what the fuck are you doing? Am I allowed to say that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Continue.
Okay. All right. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I thought, what are you doing? I'm like, I was screaming at myself in my head. And I pounded on the door, and then I leaned back to kick the door in. And I remember my foot hit the door, but it didn't hit I didn't feel the force of a closed door, like the door opened. And my first thought was,